Hello everyone. In this video, let us discuss about Python tuples. First, let us discuss what is this tuple. A tuple is an immutable linear data structures. So, in the last video, we have discussed about strings, right? So, similar like the strings, we have a tuple. Your tuple is an immutable, right? Which means we cannot change it. Once if we create a tuple, it cannot be changed. And a tuple is a comma separated list of elements and it is represented within round brackets. So if it is a list, it will be within square brackets, right? If it is a tuple, it will be represented within rounded brackets. And in tuple also, we can have mixed type of elements. So we can go for a character type, floating type or integer type of data elements within a single tuple, right? So another point we need to remember, a tuple is not alterable, right? We cannot do any alterations once if we create a tuple. Here I have given an example. You can see I have taken 10, 20, 30. Right? So if I created these three elements within the tuple num, it cannot be replaced. The elements which is available inside this tuple cannot be replaced with some other elements, or it cannot be deleted, or a new element cannot be inserted into the tuple. Right? Here I have represented within rounded brackets. So this is the tuple representation. And another thing, for the same variable num, I have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, but I didn't represent this within square brackets, right? Within round brackets. But this type of syntax is also considered as a tuple. Okay, let us see it in Spider. So I have created a variable num which is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So if I give num, we can see the output that all the elements are in a tuple format. Right? So another example we have seen, the same values can be represented as 1, 2, 3, 4. But in this case, I didn't give these elements within rounded brackets. So if I give num, you can see that even though I didn't specify the brackets, but it is considered as a tuple. So it is not possible to do any modification with this tuple, right? So next we have empty tuple. So the empty tuple can also be created just like our list, just by giving the empty parenthesis. Okay, so A equals to empty rounded brackets. If I give, it is a empty tuple. But remember, we cannot do any insertion with this tuple. It is empty, right? So, and another thing, we need to discuss about single element tuple. So, we have discussed empty tuple, which is empty. Next, we need to go for single element tuple. So, whenever we have only one element inside a tuple, we need to represent it like this. A equals to 1 comma. Following that element, we need to give a comma. Then only it will be counted as a tuple. Otherwise, simply if I give A equals to 1 within round brackets, it will be counted as assigning a value to a variable. Let us see it in Python. So, I am taking A equals to 1, right? So, here I didn't give comma. As per the tuple concept, even if it is a single element, that element should be followed by a comma. Then only it will be counted as a tuple. But in this case, simply I have given A equals to 1. Let us see the output. Okay. So, what is the output for this? Just I am getting the value. It is similar like A equals to 1, assigning a value to a variable. But remember, the same example I am giving 1 followed by a comma. So, now it is a tuple. Let us see the output, right? So, in output you can see that the element is in the format of tuple. Okay. So, this is another variation which we need to remember. Okay. Next we have accessing the tuple elements. So how we are going to access the tuple elements? Just like our list and string, here also the tuple elements can be accessed by specifying the index, right? So already we know the indexing which starts from 0 to n-1 in the case of list as well as in the case of string. And here also the index values will be represented within square brackets. Okay. So here I have given an example, print num of, within square bracket I have given the index value, right? So remember the index range starts from 0 to n-1 where n is the number of elements in the tuple. Okay. So let us see this with an example. So I am giving num equals to, within round brackets I am giving 10, 20, 30. So if I give num of 2, okay, so in the second index position we have a value 30, so which will be printed over here. So this is how we are going to access the tuple elements. So whenever we are talking about indexing, then we need to talk about negative indexing also. So just like the previous list and string, in tuple also we have a negative indexing concept. So in the negative indexing, we know that the indexing value starts from -1, and another thing, the -1 index is the last element of the tuple, right? So the same concept we are having for tuple also. So let us see this. So already I have a tuple num, okay. So here I want to access num of -2, right? So the output is 20. So here in negative indexing, the index starts from -1 and the -1 index will be the last element of the tuple. So since -2 comes for element 20, we have got the output as 20. This is about negative indexing. So next we need to discuss how we are going to fetch the elements with ranges. So this is just like the slice concept what we have discussed in strings, right? So here the set of tuple elements, we can access it by specifying its range of indexes. Okay, so here I have taken the example 10, 20, 30, and while printing I am going to print num of 0, and we need to separate the ranges with colon, right? So starting index, ending index we need to specify. And similar like the previous slice concept, here also the index 3 will not be included. So the elements will be printed from 0 to 2, right? 0, 1, 2. So totally I have 3 elements up to 2. Second index will be printed. Since I have given 3, all the elements will be printed in the output. Okay. So what about the negative indexing? So in negative indexing also, we need to specify the starting index and the ending index, and the end index will not be included while printing the output, right? So let us see it with an example. So A equals to, I am taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 elements I have taken. It is in tuple format, no problem. Okay, so now I am going to print of A of, I need to specify the index. So let me take from 1 to 3, right? So which means how many elements will be printed? The first index, second index element will be printed. Third index will not be included. So 2 elements will be printed in my output. The index starts from the first position to the second position, right? So if I go for negative indexing, then here let me take -3, let me take -1, right? So what is the output here? So it starts from -1, -2, -3, right? So anyway, the end index will be discarded. So 3 and 4 are the output here. This is how we are going to fetch the certain range of elements using its index. So this is just like the slicing concept. Next, let us discuss what are the methods available with the case of tuple, right? So the first function is length function. Okay, so how many elements are available in the tuple can be obtained by using length, right? LEN. So here we have a tuple A, right? So here let us take LEN of A. So totally I have 5 elements, right? So the number of elements in a tuple can be obtained using length function. So the next method is count method. So this count method will be used to obtain how many number of times the element has occurred in a tuple. Okay. So in this example, I have counted the element 10, which means the number of times the element 10 appeared in the tuple can be obtained with the help of count method. Okay. So let us take a new example. A equals to 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, right? So this is my tuple. So here, since we are going for count, we need to use the syntax A dot count of, I have to give the argument. Remember, only one argument can be given for the count function, right? So let me give the argument as 2. So the argument what I need to give here is the element for which I need to obtain the number of times of its occurrence. So what is the output for the element 2? The output is 2 because twice the element 2 has appeared, right? So let me go for another value. So I have taken element 3. How many times element 3 appeared? Element 3 has been appeared 2 times. So that is the output, right? So the count method will give us how many number of times the element has occurred in the tuple. So here remember we need to pass the argument. The argument will be the element. Okay, so next we have index method, right? So the index method will return the element's index position in the tuple, right? So in index method also we need to pass single argument. That argument will be the element of the tuple, right? So which will return the element's position in the tuple. So let us see it with an example. So let me take num equals to 10, 20, 30, 40, right? So let me take 2 times 20. Okay. So here num dot index of, so I need the index position of element 20. Okay. So the index position of element 20 is 1. Okay. So remember the element 20 has appeared twice, right? 2 times the element 20 is appearing in the tuple. But the result what we have obtained is the first occurrence of that particular element. Okay. So let me take 40. Okay. So the index position of element 40 is 3. So we can obtain the index of the particular element with the help of index method. Okay. So next we have how to merge or how to concatenate two tuples. So the two tuples can be combined with the help of plus operator. This is just like the previous string concatenation what we have discussed. Okay. So here let me take x equals to 1, 2 and y equals to, let me take 3, 4. Okay. So x plus y. So here you can see the output that the two tuples are merged or concatenated. Okay. So the next method is min method. So the min method will return the minimum element in the tuple. So the least element which is present in the tuple can be obtained with the help of min method, right? So let us see it with an example. In this case, I have taken strings. X equals to A, B, right? So let me take one more, C. Okay. So in middle I have given dot, comma, right? So now it is okay. So we have created a tuple. So now we need to go for the min method, right? So in min method, we need to pass the argument. The argument is the variable of the tuple, right? So min of x. So the minimum element in the tuple is a, right? So in this case, since we have taken the strings, for strings, it will check for its corresponding ASCII value, right? So here, similar like this, we can go for y equals to 1, 8, 2, 9, right? So min of y. So the minimum element in the tuple y is 1, right? So the next method is max method. So the max method will return the maximum element from the tuple, the largest element from the tuple. So let us take the same previous examples, but instead of min, let us supply max of x. So the maximum element in tuple x is c, since the ASCII of c is highest value, right? So similarly, max of y, let us take max of y. So the maximum element in tuple y is 9, right? So this min and max methods will be used to get the least element and the maximum element from the tuple. Okay, so next we have a method called sum method, right? So the sum method will return sum of all the elements in the tuple, right? So the addition of all the elements which is present in the tuple. So for example, already we have a tuple y, okay? So let us give sum of y. So the sum of y will be 20. So which is nothing but the addition of all the elements in the tuple. So next we have tuple method itself, right? So since the method name is also same, we are calling it as a constructor. So the tuple constructor will be used to make a particular or set of element as a tuple itself, right? Anyway, by default, with the help of round brackets, we can represent it as a tuple. But apart from that, we can specify the method tuple itself. Let us give a equals to tuple of 1, 2, 3, right? So a is nothing but the tuple. So we can go for a specific method called tuple method itself to specify that this particular variable is a tuple variable, right? So these are the methods in tuple. Apart from this, we have the membership operators like in and not in. So that also can be used for the tuple. So about that in and not in, we have discussed in string video, right? So the same syntax can be used for tuple also, right? So next we have tuple deletion. So as we discussed, the tuple is an immutable data structure. We cannot delete any element from the tuple. We cannot replace any element, right? Or we cannot update. So these methods are not possible with tuple. But the thing is, we can completely delete the tuple itself. So that is possible. So already we have the tuple A, right? So if I give del A, the tuple have been deleted. So if I give A, it will show you error, right? So it is not defined. Okay. So we can delete the complete tuple itself. But a single element from the tuple cannot be deleted, or any new element cannot be added, or we cannot replace the already existing element in the tuple, right? So this is about the tuple concept. Thank you.